Welcome back. Now in this lecture we'll be talking about functions. In our previous lecture we learned about the basic concepts behind a function. In this lecture we'll be actually writing programs using functions. So this is a very important lecture and I want you guys to pay extra attention. Okay, I told you that a function has two parts, a function definition and a function call. Now in order to call a function or use a function, we need to tell Java what that function has to do. That means you cannot call a function without defining it. So first step is to define our function. Now, if you observe, this is our main block in Java. Okay, I haven't already told you what a main is. We'll come to that, but for the moment, you need to understand that anything written inside these two brackets will go under the main block. Okay, now our function will be written outside this main block. Because we are breaking our program into individual units, our function will be written outside this main block. That means we'll write it somewhere around here. Okay, now our next step is to define the function. I already told you that we need to define a function before using it. So let's go ahead and do that. Now our function is to add two numbers and print out the result. Okay, that is our function. So first step is to type in a data type. Now we are just printing out a sum of two numbers, right? We're not returning any value, we're just printing out stuff. So whenever we are just printing out and not returning anything, all we need to do is just specify it as the void, because void means that no data type. It is not an integer or a float or a string, it is just void. That means no specific data type. Next step is to give it a name. We need to give a name to a function. So let's just call it add. Now what add will need is two variables, right? I told you that it will find the sum of two variables. So the variables used in add are x and y, and both of these are integers. Now we open and close two curly braces. Now this is our body of our function. Whatever is typed within these two braces will be our function body. Now what is our required target? It is to system.out.println x plus y, and the line with a semicolon. Awesome. So what this will do is that it will receive two numbers and it will print out the sum of those two numbers. Simple as that. Now there arises a problem. This is our main block, okay, and this is our add block. So a problem arises is that this add can only be recognized if it is within this main block, because main can only read the things that is inside the two brackets of main. That means main can only access things that is within its body, but add is written outside this body. So how can we make add accessible to the entire program? Now that is the purpose of public static. Now what this line public static will do is that it will allow the function to be accessed from anywhere within the program. Now that concept may not be that clear to you because we haven't learned classes. Now public static are all coming under classes. So you can only get a clear idea of them when we learn classes. Don't worry, once we have completed functions, I promise to teach you guys about classes, and by then public static will be crystal clear to you. So for the moment, all you need to know is that we make this function public static so that it can be accessed from anywhere in the program. Okay, so this is our function definition. Let's try running this. You can see that there is no output. Why? Because we haven't used this function yet. We just made a definition. To use this function, we need to use the function call. Now how do we call a function? To call a function, all we need to do is just type in the function name. In this case it is add, and we need to pass the values to the functions. Suppose you wanted to add 5 and 10. So you need to pass 5, comma, 10 semicolon. Awesome. Let's run this. And you get the output 15. That means our program is working. So what this line of code did was that the value of I will get stored in this X and the value of 10 will get stored in this Y. And it will print out the sum of 5 and 10, which is 15. So what a function call does is that it passes the value to a function definition. And our function definition makes use of the value and gives us our desired output. So to sum up this lecture, there are two parts of a function definition and a function call. Now a function definition deals with what the function has to do. So the first step in writing a function definition is to type in the data type that the function definition will be using. In this case, there is no data type because we are not returning any value, we are just printing out few values. So we just make it a void data type. Then we type in the function name. In this case, it is add. We open and close two brackets and inside which we will define the variables used in the function. In this case, all we need is two numbers, two integers, int x and int y. And within the function body, we will find the sum of those two variables and print it out onto the output screen. Now to make use of a function from anywhere in the program, we make it public static. Now defining a function is not enough. To use the function, we need to actually call it. To call the function, you type in the function name, open and close two brackets, and within the brackets, you provide the values to be passed to a function. In this case, we passed 5 and 10 and we got the output 15. Now if you wanted to pass a different value, all you need to do is just type in the function name followed by the values you need to pass. So let's try passing 15 and 35. We get the output 50. So this is how a function works. Now make sure you revisit this lecture once again to make sure you clearly understand each of these concepts. Now in our next lecture, we will be learning more fun things about functions, and I'm sure that by the end of this section you guys will have a clear idea about how a function works. Okay, so thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you again in the next lecture.